Sabatini wins the first set 6-1. And from the Miami Seaquarium, which is just moments away here at Key Biscayne, well, we'll show you a shot of Hollywood. Now on Miami from our cameras here on Key Biscayne. So as you can tell, it is not too far away. And then you pan back to the International Tennis Center here on Key Biscayne, which is about a 10-minute drive to downtown. Gabriela Sabatini playing Chris Evert. She won the first set easily. This is the first game of the second set. Oh. It's long.
I've seen Sabatini do this shot a lot. As a matter of fact, I've seen her do it 2 other times against Chris Evert. Both times she's made it over the net. She lost that point, though, because on the follow-up shot, she hit the ball long. But it's fun to see.
This is going to be a crucial game. In the second game of the first set, Chris had 3 game points on her serve and did not hold it. Went down 2-love, could never get back into it. Look at the first serve percentages. Chris is serving safely, getting 76% in, but it hasn't done her much good, obviously. Sabatini tagging the first serve. They're even in unforced errors, but 3 times as many winners from Gabriela Sabatini.
30-love. Crowd applauding that error from Sabatini. I think your question about who they were going to support is answered. They would love to see Chris put up a better show. She has 40-love, first game, second set. Sabatini, as we told you, spends a lot of time. She has a home here in Key Biscayne, and Chris has been a South Florida girl all her life. She has a home just about a couple hours away from here in Boca Raton at the Polo Club. In fact, next week, though, she's going back to her other home in Aspen, Colorado. Game point.
This has been a problem for Chris Evert throughout this tournament. 40-love service game. She lost one against Kathy Rinaldi at 4-all in the first set of their match. The first game of the Mary Jo Fernandez match, she had 40-love on her serve. She's had trouble closing out service games, and this one is particularly important.
40-30. So Chris has one game in the second set. We were telling you about Hollywood. There he or she is from the Miami Seaquarium, just moments away. Evert leads it in the second set. Take a look at this, Steve.
Yes, 27 double faults is a key statistic for Evert. That's an unusually high number, and that's one of the reasons why she's serving a little bit with a little less pace today, trying to get more first serves in. Now, Chris Evert made a strategic change in the first game of this set. She's gotten more conservative. She's just trying to keep more balls in play, give Sabatini a chance to miss. She never did that in the first set.
Tournament has been played 5 times. Chris has been in the final each time. She's won it once.
The first ace of the match is under some question.
Fran McDowell is the umpire, and she is not going to bow to the disgust of Chris Evert on that call. Game point, 40-15. One game all in the second set with Steffi Graf 2 years ago, who made her real big move when she beat Martina Navratilova, destroyed her really in the semifinal of this tournament, and then did the same thing to Chris in the final, because she had not won a Grand Slam championship at that point, but that soon changed because she started out winning the French championships that year, and then last year won the great Grand Slam of tennis. One game all, second set.
Even before Chris had beaten Zina Garrison in the semis to play the final, Gabriella said, "I hope I play Chrissy." She said, "I feel very confident playing against her. I like playing her." Not too many players feel that way on the women's tour. You can tell how confident Sabatini is in her game against Chris's.
Called wide. And Chris doesn't like that call either. Fran McDowell will talk to her about it. She hasn't yet called the score, but it doesn't look like she's going to overrule it.
Love 30.
The crowd don't like it.
Right on the line, says Chris. And I'll tell you what, she needs calls at this stage.
I'll tell you what, I agree with her too. I think it was on the line.
I thought it skipped too. The problem that Chris faces with this, have a look. I really think this thing kissed the paint. That Chris got a bad call will not only make her less confident, in the lines people, but maybe she won't feel as though she can go for her shots as much. That could hurt her.
In trouble. Third game of the second set. It's love 30.
First serve.
Love 43 break points.
Sabatini made Chris lift that first volley up the forehand side. She wasn't able to be authoritative enough, and then that great backhand down the line from Sabatini. It's always been her most dazzling shot. She executed it beautifully there.
Chris has got a real dilemma now. If she stays on the baseline against Sabatini, well, Sabatini's hitting too strongly from there. Up at net, she's got to volley up all that topspin, and that's not an easy thing to do either.
It's wide, and Chris Evert trails 2 games to 1 and 1 set to love. Still with Mary Carrillo, Steve Flink is at courtside. This is a Lipton International from Key Biscayne, Florida. Live action. Chris Evert lost the first set to Gabriela Sabatini in the women's singles final here, and she is down 1 serve break, 2 games to 1 in the second set. That is a tough overhit from where she was.
And Sabatini just hitting so well, playing so well with the wind at her back, using it with all that topspin to generate more depth, pinning Chris even further behind the baseline.
When Chris beats her, Steve, what is happening differently? What are the dynamics of the match?
I'll get to that just a second, Mary, after this point.
15 all.
What happens there when she's beating her is that she is setting the tone more and definitely not making many mistakes. She's constantly winning the long rallies, and she's moving Sabatini around, but she hasn't had that opportunity much today. She certainly doesn't make many unforced errors ordinarily against Sabatini.
30-15.
Remember what Evert said going into this match. She said, I don't have a chance against her if I don't play well.
And she's in trouble. First set, 6 games to 1. Sabatini serving at 2-1, and she has 2 game points.
Chris must have thought she had this point won. There's the forehand down the line now. She whips this one cross court, but the stab volley from Sabatini covered the entire length of the net. Watch Sabatini on the ISO as she stretches for the forehand volley, and she's delighted with the winner.
What a big point. And there's the first double fault of the day for Chris. She's got to be shaken up at this point. I mean, she has been outplayed in every major point of this match so far.
One of the few missed hits that you've seen from Sabatini. 15-all now in the fifth game, second set, 3-1 for Sabatini.
One of the few times that Evert has been able to force an error from Sabatini there with the inside-outside spin forehand deep to the Sabatini backhand.
30-15.
I like the idea of slicing to Sabatini's backhand a lot.
Oh, it's long. Evert has held on to serve. So it is 3-2 Sabatini with one serve break in the second set. And Sabatini won the first set easily, 6-1, downtown Miami in the background. Sabatini is in the driver's seat in this match. She'll serve at 3-2 in the second set. She won the first easily. She is overpowering Chris Evert in every department of this game of tennis. It is the final of the Lipton Players Championships from Key Biscayne, Florida. Live.
That's just the kind of point that Evert really needed to win. That thing had to land in the court for her and draw an error from Sabatini, so that Chris would continue to take a good crack at the ball.
The only player in the top 4 seeds not to make it to the semi-final in the women's singles, as you look at first serve efficiency for 3 out of 4 for Evert, was Pam Shriver.
Sabatini has just been so solid today off both sides, Mary. She's hitting the topspin backhand well, the slice with great control, won't miss a forehand, hitting with great depth. It is very hard to finish off a point. As you see, the match has gone just over an hour. So difficult to find an area of vulnerability.
Yeah, Sabatini happens to be gobbling up the Evert ball. I mean, she likes that nice, clean, beautifully struck ball. She's just feeding off of it.
She missed it.
And again, look, you can see how pumped up is Sabatini. Chris is hitting the ball well, and if Sabatini were not moving so well to the ball, I think you'd see Gabriela struggling a lot more, groping for the ball. But boy, she's just on top of these things.
40 love. Kelly does not surprise me the way she played the latter stages of her semi-final match with Helena Sokova. She was terrific. Sabatini holds on, so she has a 4-2 lead now in the second set. She won the first set 6-1. Sokova played her very differently, of course, because she attacked almost every second serve that Sabatini put in, and she was very successful to a large extent. But in the latter stages, Sabatini started to hit the ball precisely and made passing shot after passing shot and finally won the match in 3.
Symbolizes the plight of Chris Evert against Gabriela Sabatini. She had to win the point 3 times. Sabatini retrieving so well, angling her off the court, counterattacking, and finally Chris is able to finish it off. But it took a Herculean effort.
12,500 people capacity crowd here watching the final of the women's singles of the Lipton. Evert hanging on for dear life. 15 love, 2-4, second set.
Again, another shot, another nice solid drive that just missed its mark.
$100,000 to the winner of this match today. The two of them have already made $60,000.
Both of them wide of Sabatini's forehand, both the deuce and the ad courts. Caught her off guard.
Game point. Evert holds on for the third time this set, but she's still a serve break behind and 1 set down. And by Mikulov. One taste will tell you why the night belongs to Mikulov. Live coverage of the final of the women's singles of the Lipton Players Championship, and Chris Evert is in trouble. 4-3 and 1 set to love Sabatini.
Directors are able to sell tickets using this story that this could be the last time Chris Evert plays in their particular city. And of course that story is around that this could be Chris's last appearance in her home state. What do you think about that?
I think it's entirely likely. You can never bet on it because it's a year-to-year thing, but I think it's very, very possible, and it's very likely. She won't make up her mind until after the U.S. Open what her plans for next year will be or whether she would retire, so we won't really know until then.
My feeling with Evert at this point is that any good win or any encouraging match, like the one she had against Groff, that'll keep her in the game another half a year.
See, I think she's going to stay in for just as long as she plays well and as competitive as she is. She's going to do what Jimmy Connors did. Say, hey, as long as I'm doing well, enjoying it, I'm going to keep playing. Why not? Don't retire me too early. I think you'll see her back. 40 love, Sabatini. Game point for a 5-3 lead in the second set.
This is as well as I've seen Sabatini play in '89. She surely didn't have this form at the Australian Open.
It was Steffi Graf who beat Sabatini at the Australian Open in the semi-finals, of course, and
Killed her.
And Sukova was Steffi Graf's victim in the final. Sukova got to the semi-final here, beaten by Sabatini. But a close match. Game point.
Mary, I would agree with you, though. I think it's definitely the best Sabatini has played since she won the Virginia Slims Championships last November without the loss of a set. Far and away her best tennis since then.
Two points in a row for Chris, but it's still game point. She played the semi-final, as we said, lost to Steffi Graf in the Pan Pacific. Mary Jo Fernandez beat her. Mary Jo's from this area also. Mary Jo was the one who beat her here last year.
The best approach shot of the match from Evert as she steered that one down the line forcefully, but with great control. Again, Sabatini had saved herself several times within the point. Great counterattacking, great ball control. But after Sabatini led 40 love, back to deuce.
You know, Steve, as Sabatini buys herself a little bit of time because she's winded after that long rally, she's had a crack at that last shot. That's how well she's seeing the ball and moving to it.
Tremendous performance.
Deuce. Oh, what a chance. Ball was very easy for Chris to do something effective with. She made an unforced error, and Sabatini has another game point to put her ahead 5-3. What's the wind like down there now, Steve? It looks like it really has calmed down.
It has. It's rather moderate, Cliff. I don't think it's played a very small factor in this match, surprisingly so.
Game point.
Is Andy milling around?
Now, suddenly the wind did pick up in that last point, and when Chris hit the short forehand down the line without much pace, it was very hard for Sabatini to field it. She couldn't control her slice backhand.
Gusty wind is a worse kind in which to play.
Deuce. I don't care who you are when it comes down to the ultimate stages of a match like this, you get tight. Sabatini hasn't been tight, but she's missing a few now. Well, you know, the wind was a factor in that exchange, one of the best points of the match.
Definitely a factor as Chris kept lobbing over Gabriella's backhand side. They weren't all that deep, but they were awkward to handle in that wind.
Sabatini has broken serve 4 times, as you see, Chris once, but here is another chance for her to get back even in the second set. The wind just took it away.
It did, Cliff. It just swirled away at the last instant. It was a good, well-hit serve, but there's no doubt that the wind grabbed it and took it away out of the reach of Evert. Look at the kick serve. Bounce up and away. Chris stretched out on her two-hand side, cannot make the play.
She so seldom, as well as she prepares, looks like she's not in position. One of the few times you'll ever find her grabbing and groping for a ball, but it was because of the wind. It's deuce. Another break point. Interesting, Mary. Everything going Sabatini's way, and suddenly she's making a few errors.
Crunch time. I think Evert is playing this game well, and she's saying to Sabatini, "Let's see you win this. I'm centering my ball. I'm not going to overplay it. Let's see you take this from me."
They're giving her a standing ovation here at the International Tennis Center. Chris has broken back, even at 4 games apiece in the second set. First set to Sabatini.
This was the dream final these people wanted, and suddenly it's very competitive.
Number 1 seed Sabatini, number 2 seed Chris Evert.
Chris Evert has found her rhythm, and Sabatini has gone off the mark, beginning to miss it a few balls off both sides. But Chris has gotten increasingly conservative, hitting at a higher trajectory and waiting for her openings.
It's a remarkable career record, isn't it? 30 low.
A little gaudy. 902. It's quite a lifetime record. Chris's second double fault. This is a key point for Evert. Sabatini's going to try to attack and get things back on her terms.
Excellent slice backhand off the two-handed side of Chris Evert at a very sharp angle. Provoked that mistake from Sabatini. They had a cross-court forehand exchange going here, and Sabatini goes down the line for forehand. Look at the angle on the two-handed slice from Chris. Pulls Sabatini out of the alley.
I wonder, thinking back, if Sabatini wishes she had been more aggressive. Chris had just come off a double fault. I don't think she should have tried to play a long rally with her.
Game point. Mistakes from Sabatini now, and Evert, for the first time in a long time, has her nose out in front in a set. 5-4. She lost the first 6-1.
Choosing one of
back holds on, is ahead now for the first time in this match. And Sabatini will serve to stay in the second set. There's Angel Jimenez from Spain. He is Gabriela Sabatini's coach. And I guess people complained that he was trying to give her some advice on the side of the court.
The other day he was making some pretty wild hand signals and such.
Very short and a slight mishit. Angel Jimenez, her coach, likes it. And it's 15-all in this very important 10th game, second set.
Sabatini coming up with a marvelous lob there that really got her back into that point before she eventually ended it with a cross-court forehand winner. Great lob off her backhand side. Sabatini with a quick pickup, almost a half-volley drive there off a very good, deep, hard approach shot from Evert.
Boy, Jimenez is looking pretty alert, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's not doing anything that he shouldn't do. We're keeping an eye on him for you.
Actually, when Sukova was told that Jimenez was offering some coaching, she didn't seem to mind, and she had just lost to Sabatini. It seems to be more accepted in Europe than it is here. It is totally illegal. For the most part, Sabatini says, though, that basically he just shakes his fist and says, "Vamos, let's go."
Evert backed off. That was the third consecutive point she'd come to the net. She played that lob very safely, took it on the bounce, which was very wise. Would have been hard to hit it in the air. Take a look at her. She stabbed the forehand volley down the line. Good lob from Sabatini. Chris lets it bounce just behind the service line, angles it inside out for the winner.
30-all. The memory of the great days of Chris Evert. And she still has plenty of them, and her mystique have got to be a factor with the younger Gabriela Sabatini, don't they, at this point? Because she knows that if she's going to win this set, she's going to have to earn it. Chris is not going to give it to her.
Chris, with the wind at her back now, is taking the offensive at just the right moment. She did it there. It was a very safe, long rally from both players. Lots of moonballs, but as soon as she saw an opening, she nailed the forehand down the line. Sabatini had the lob short, and the point was won.
Point, please.
Set point.
Sabatini made a surprise move on that set point by serving and volleying, but she really didn't rattle Evert by doing so, who made a good return and followed up with a good passing shot off the forehand side when Sabatini tried to drop volley. Now keep in mind, as you look at this three-set match record, that in matches between Evert and Sabatini, she has never lost a three-setter to Gabriela. Gabriela's 2 wins over Evert were both in straight sets.